G'day YouTubers, I will review last week's round of the 2024 AFL season. Before I start, it will be appreciated if you can subscribe to my channel. Please help me get to 1,000 subscribers. Returning back to the show, the first game of the week is between Brisbane and Collingwood at the Gabba on Thursday, 28th of March, for which 30,422 people attended the match. The final score was Brisbane 10 goals 12-72 to Collingwood 14 goals 8-92. The Magpies won by 20 points. The best players for Brisbane were McCarthy, Andrews, Neil, Zorko and McCluggage. For Collingwood, the best players were Mitchell, Josh Dacos, Frampton, Elliott and Nick Dacos. The goal kickers for Brisbane were 2 goals to Rayner and singles to Bailey, Cameron, Danaher, Fletcher, Lohman, McCarthy, McCluggage and Neil. For Collingwood, Elliott kicked 4 goals, with 3 goals to both Myercheck and Hill, and 2 goals to McCreary, and singles to Cripps and McInnes. The Magpies were led by the small forwards in Elliott and Hill, with 4 and 3 goals respectively. They scored 50% of Collingwood goals. The Magpies jumped out of the blocks with a 5 goals to 1 lead at quarter time. Then, in the second quarter, they were scoreless and trailed at half time by 5 points. They won the second half with 9 goals to 5 to win the match by 20 points. For the Lions, Neil had 35 possessions, followed by Zorgo and McCluggage with 30 and 29 disposals respectively. For the Magpies, Nick Dacos had 30 possessions, followed by Noble and Mitchell, who both had 24 disposals each. Brisbane dominated the possessions by plus 37. Here else they were plus 5. They were plus 8 in clearances, plus 11 in stoppages. They had plus 12 in marks. They had 13 more inside 50s, but the Magpies were more efficient inside 50, with their efficiency inside 50 14% more than Brisbane's. The stats would say the Lions dominated the game, but the main stat Collingwood did well in was being efficient inside their 50, which was a telling factor. My 3-2-1 Brownlow votes are 3 votes to Elliott, kicked 4 goals, had 16 disposals, had 4 marks, 3 tackles, 1 clearances, 209 metres gain and 1 goal assist. 2 votes to Neil, who kicked a goal, had 35 disposals, had 6 marks, 4 tackles and 410 metres gain. 1 vote to Nick Dacos, who had 30 disposals, 5 marks, 1 tackle, 2 clearances, 650 metres gain and 1 goal assist. The second game of the week is between North Melbourne and Carlton on Good Friday, at which 47,565 people attended the match. The final score was North Melbourne 12 goals 9-81 to Carlton 21 goals 11-137. The Blues won by 56 points. The best players for North Melbourne were Curtis, Xeri, Shizel and Powell. For Carlton, the best players were Hewitt, Sarah, Bakay, Cripps and Curnow. The goal kickers for North Melbourne were 3 goals to Curtis and Larkey, 2 goals to Ford and singles to Woodlaw, Zerha, Powell and Lorazzo. For Carlton, the goal kickers were 5 goals to McKay, 4 goals to Curnow, 3 goals to Always, 2 goals to Durden and singles to Fantasia, Elijah Hollands, Cripps, Hewitt, Sarah, Carroll and Akers. The Blues were led by their twin towers of McKay and Curnow, who contributed 9 goals of the team's 21 goals. They scored 42% of the goals and they totally dominated against the North defenders. In a total dominant display, Carlton won all 4 quarters to win by 56 points. For North Melbourne, Shizel had 32 disposals, followed by Howe and Davis Uniacke with 29 and 27 disposals, respectively. For Cowden, Cripps had 28 disposals, followed by Hewitt and Hollins with 26 and 22 disposals, respectively. North suffered an injury to Callum Coleman-Jones, who has potentially suffered an Achilles tendon injury. Cowden dominated the possessions by plus 35. They were even in hit outs. They were -3 in clearances, -6 in stoppages, -8 in hit outs, but had 11 more inside 50 and were more efficient inside 50, with their efficiency inside 50 15% more than North Melbourne. It is this that really shows the efficiency of the Blues. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 votes to Harry McKay, who had 5 goals, 19 disposals, 10 marks, 2 tackles, 3 hit-outs, 2 clearances, and 406 metres gained. 2 votes to the captain in Cripps, who had 1 goal, 28 disposals, 3 marks, 5 tackles, 9 clearances, and 281 metres gained. And the 1 vote goes to Curnow, who had 4 goals, 15 disposals, 5 marks, 1 tackle, 299 metres gained, and 1 goal assist. The next game is between Fremantle and Adelaide, also on Good Friday in Perth, for which 51,037 people attended the game. The final score was Fremantle 9 goals 15-69 to Adelaide 4 goals 10-34. The Dockers won by 35 points. The best players for Fremantle were Walters, Ryan, Clark, Young, and Pearce. The best players for the Crows were Laird, Saludigo, Keane, and Crouch. The goal kickers for Fremantle were 2 goals to Amos, Walters, and Tabner, and singles to Banfield, Frederick, and Tracy. Whereas for the Crows, they were all singles to Scholl, McHenry, Keys, and Burgess. The Dockers were led by their 2 key forwards in Amos and Tabner, with 2 goals each, who contributed 4 goals out of the club's 9 goals. They scored 44% of the goals. Fremantle were also well led by Pearce and Ryan in defence, who helped the team concede only 4 goals for the game and restricted the Crows to 1 goal in the second half. For Fremantle, Young had 32 disposals, followed by Aish and Sorrell with 29 and 28 possessions respectively. For the Crows, they were led by Crouch with 28 disposals, followed by Dawson and Keane with 27 and 26 disposals respectively. Fremantle dominated the possession by 47. They were -16 in hitouts, -3 in clearances, -7 in turnovers, but had 8 more inside 50 and were more efficient inside 50, with their efficiency inside 50 22% more than Adelaide. I have never seen a team more efficient inside 50 like this sat with over 20%. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 votes to Hayden Young, who had 32 disposals, 8 marks, 7 tackles, 8 clearances, 661 metres gained, and 1 goal assist. 2 votes to Luke Ryan, who dominated in defence with 27 disposals, 10 marks, 2 tackles, and 742 metres gained. And a 1 vote goes to Sorrell, who had 28 disposals, 6 marks, 6 tackles, 4 clearances, and 567 metres gained. The next game is between Essendon and St Kilda at Marvel Stadium, for which 44,412 people attended the match. The final score was Essendon 10 goals 11-71 to St Kilda 9 goals 13-67. Essendon won by 4 points. The best players for Essendon were Langford, Parrish, Merritt, and Martin. For St Kilda, their best players were Steele, Marshall, Hill, Bonner, and Higgins. The goal kickers for Essendon were 3 goals to Langford and Stringer, 2 goals to Jones, and singles to McGrath and Dersma. For St Kilda, Higgins kicked 3 goals, 2 goals to Cadamnides, singles to Sinclair, Owens, Ross and Butler. The Saints jumped out of the blocks and led by 11 points at half-time. By three-quarter time, the Saints were still in the lead and were leading by 7 points. And in the last 3 minutes of the game, Essendon hit the lead for the first time when Stringer kicked a goal 55 metres from the boundary. They kept the lead and won the game. Essendon won the last quarter by scoring 2 goals 6 to 1 goals 1 to win by 4 points. And they had only been in the lead for 7% overall of the entire game. And they got the lead when it mattered. For Essendon, Martin had 44 disposals, followed by Merritt and McGrath with 30 possessions each. For St Kilda, Bonner had 32 disposals, followed by Sinclair and Steele with 30 and 29 disposals respectively. Essendon dominated the possessions by plus 25. They had plus 7 hitouts. They had 5 more clearances, but were minus 1 in stoppages. They were plus 20 in marks, and Essendon had 2 more inside 50, but were more efficient inside 50, with their efficiency inside 50 4% more than St Kilda. My 3-2-1 Brownlow votes are 3 votes to Nick Martin, who had 44 disposals, 8 marks, 1 tackle, 3 clearances, and 781 metres gained. 2 votes to Riley Bonner, who had 32 disposals, 9 marks, 1 tackle, 1 clearance, and 1,018 metres gained. That's a lot of metres gained I've ever seen. And 1 vote to the package Stringer, who had 3 goals, 11 disposals, 5 marks, 2 tackles, 1 clearance, and 287 metres gained. The next game is between Port Adelaide and Melbourne at Adelaide Oval, for which more than 45,000 people attended the match. The final score was Port Adelaide 13 goals 11 89 to Melbourne 15 goals 6 96. The Demons won by 7 points. The best player for the Power were Butters, Drew, Houston, Rosie, and Wines. For the visiting team Melbourne, their best players were Grawn, Oliver, Petrarca, Rivers, and Winey. The goal kickers for Port Adelaide were 2 goals to Finlayson, Burne-Jones, and Rioli, and singles to Soldo, Dixon, Evans, Houston, Marshall, McEntee, and Rosie. For Melbourne, Ben Brown kicked 3 goals and 2 goals to Fritz, Sparrow, and Neil Bullen, and singles to Grawn, Langdon, Oliver, Pickett, Winey, and Windsor. This was a close game. Port kicked the first 3 goals to start the match on fire, and Melbourne clawed their way back into the game to trail by 5 points at quarter time. The score was tied at half time, and Port had a 4-point lead heading at 3-quarter time. Melbourne won the last quarter by kicking 5 goals to 3 to win by 7 points, and now they sit with a record of 2 wins and 1 losses. For Port Adelaide, Rosie had 26 disposals, followed by his lieutenant in Butters and Wines with 26 and 25 disposals respectively. For Melbourne, Rivers led the possessions with 27, followed by Oliver and Neil Bullen with 25 and 24 disposals respectively. Port Adelaide dominated the possessions by plus 36. They were minus 25 in hitouts, especially going against Grawn. They were plus 15 in clearances. They were plus 11 in stoppages. Port were plus 2 in marks. They had 21 more inside 50, but the Demons were more efficient inside 50, with their efficiency inside 50 6% more than Port Adelaide. The stats would say the Power dominated the game, but the main stat Melbourne did well in was being efficient inside their forward 50, and that is very critical in today's football. My 3-2-1 votes for the Brownlow are 3 votes to Captain Rosie, who had 26 disposals, 1 goal, 1 mark, 4 tackles, 5 clearances, and 408 metres gained. 2 votes to Clayton Oliver, who had 1 goal, 25 disposal, 2 marks, 5 tackles, 6 clearances, and 514 metres gained. And the single vote goes to William Drew, who had 25 disposals, 2 marks, 11 tackles, that's a lot of tackles, 10 clearances, that's a lot of clearances, 501 metres gained, and 1 goal assist. The next game is between the Western Bulldogs and West Coast at Marvel Stadium, for which 20,991 people attended the match. The final score was the Western Bulldogs 16 goals 10 106 to West Coast 3 goals 12 30. The Bulldogs won by 76 points. The best players for the Bulldogs were Treloar, Bontempelli, Dale, Bramble, and Vandermeer. For the Eagles, their best players were McGovern, Dargan, and Kelly. The goal kickers for the Western Bulldogs were 3 goals to Bontempelli, 2 goals to Waitman, Gallagher, and English, and singles to Vandermeer, West, Daniel, Darcy, Norton, Treloar, and Ugelhagen. For West Coast, they had only 3 goal kickers, all having singles, and they were Williams, Waterman, and Cripps. The Bulldogs won easily by 76 points in a one-sided game. At quarter time, it was 2 goals apiece. Then, the Bulldogs piled on 11 consecutive goals and only restricted West Coast to 1 goal in the last 3 quarters. The Eagles finished the game with just 3 goals. The Bulldogs had so many players with plenty of goals and possessions. For the Bulldogs, Treloar had 35 disposals, followed by Bramble and Williams with 27 and 26 disposals respectively. For the Eagles, Yeo had 29 disposals, followed by Kelly and McGovern with 28 and 24 disposals respectively. The Western Bulldogs dominated the possessions by plus 112, significantly a lot. They had plus 6 in hitouts, but were minus 9 in clearances. The Bulldogs were plus 54 in marks, minus 12 in turnovers, which is a good sign for winning teams. The inside 50s were even for both sides, but the Bulldogs were more efficient inside 50. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlows votes are 3 to Adam Treloar, who had 1 goal, 35 disposals, 2 marks, 4 tackles, 8 clearances, 480 metres gained, and 1 goal assist. 2 votes to the Bont, who had 3 goals, 16 disposal, 6 marks, 9 tackles, 4 clearances, 144 metres gained, and 1 goal assist. And a 1 vote to Lachlan Bramble, who had 27 disposals, 7 marks, 1 tackle, 512 metres gained, and 1 goal assist. The next game is between Richmond and Sydney at the MCG, for which 45,112 people attended this game on the Sunday afternoon. The final score was Richmond 11 goals 16-82 to Sydney 11 goals 11-77. Richmond won by 5 points. The best players for Richmond were Bolton, Daniel Rioli, Taranto, and Wilson. For Sydney, their best players were Grundy, Rowbottom, Heenley, and Lloyd. The goal kickers for the Tigers were 3 goals to Lynch, 2 goals to Baker, Bolton, and Lafleur, and singles to Taranto and Mansell. For Sydney, Logan McDonald scored 3 goals, and 2 goals to Heenley and Amati, and singles to Papali, Gordon, Blakey, and Fox. For the Tigers, Taranto had 35 disposals, followed by Olsen and Daniel Rioli, who had 29 and 27 disposals respectively. For the Swans, Jake Lloyd had 32 disposals, followed by Roberts and Heenley, who both had 27 disposals each. It was a close game, and Richmond had 16 less possessions. They were plus 1 in hitouts, minus 4 in clearances, plus 11 in marks, and had 6 more inside 50, and their efficient inside 50 was 6% less than Sydney. Usually, a team with a low efficiency inside 50 loses, but Richmond just got over the win by another goal, as they had 6 more inside 50s. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 votes to Taranto, who had 1 goal, 35 disposals, 6 marks, 6 tackles, 8 clearances, 586 metres gained, and 2 goal assists. 2 votes to Isaac Heaney, who had 2 goals, 27 disposal, 8 marks, 4 tackles, 5 clearances, and 644 metres gained. And a 1 vote goes to Lloyd, who had 32 disposals, 9 marks, and 406 metres gained. The last game of the week is on Easter Monday between Hawthorn and Geelong at the MCG, for which 67,020 people attended the match. The final score was Hawthorn 10 goals 10-70 to Geelong 17 goals for 106. Geelong won by 36 points. The best players for the Hawks were Warple, Newcombe, Charles and Meek. For Geelong, their best players were Duncan, Hawkins, Stewart, Braun and Oliver Henry. The goal kickers for the Hawks were 3 to Charles, 2 to Mackenzie and singles to Ginnivan, Warple, Watson, McDonald and Lewis. For Geelong, Oliver Henry and Hawkins both kicked 4 goals, 2 goals to Stengel and Cameron, and singles to Conway, Close, Myers, Holmes and Duncan. There were injuries to Lewis with a hamstring injury and Watson with an ankle injury, both Hawthorn players. For the Hawks, Warple had 36 disposals, followed by Nash and Newcombe with 24 and 23 disposals respectively. For the Cats, Braun had 27 disposals, followed by Duncan and Stewart with 26 and 24 disposals respectively. Based on the stats, Geelong had 6 more possessions. They were -1 in hit-outs, -14 in clearances, +8 in marks, -3 in turnovers, and they were -9 inside 50, but were more efficient inside 50, with their efficiency inside 50 6% more than the Hawks. And also, looking at Geelong's score, they only kicked 4 behinds from 21 scoring shots, compared to Hawthorn, who kicked 10 behinds from 20 scoring shots. The stats would say the Hawks dominated the game, but the main stat Geelong did well in was being efficient inside their 50, which is key to winning the game. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 votes to Warple, who had 1 goal, 36 disposals, 5 marks, 8 tackles, 6 clearances, 838 metres gained, and 3 goal assists. 2 votes to Braun, who had 27 disposals, 5 tackles, 9 clearances, and 191 metres gained. And 1 vote goes to Tom Hawkins, playing in his 350th game. Hawkins kicked 4 goals, had 12 disposals, 4 marks, 4 hit-outs, 173 metres gained, and 1 goal assist. The leaderboard for my Brownlow votes after round 3 are: in first place on 8 votes are Tom Green and Isaac Heaney from GWS and Sydney, respectively. However, Tom Green has played 1 less game than Heaney. And in third spot, with 7 votes, Sarong from Fremantle and Connor Rosie from Port Adelaide, respectively. That's the end, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and comment on my channel. Every subscriber will be appreciated.